Hi, I'm joined by Lisa Duggan from Ipona Financial Guidance. Lisa, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
We're talking about debt.
Yes.
Last week's episode we were talking about cash flow, and debt creeped in, which is not a surprise because you feel that cash flow is an important part of debt management. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Cash flow is king when it comes to debt management. It's important that clients have an understanding of the ins and outs and what they can actually afford to commit to in terms of debt repayments. Without that, too often we see clients overcommitted and obviously their lifestyle impacted on.
Okay, so you've got examples of people who might have got a mortgage based on their current situation without considering what might be happening in the future. Could you give me an example of that?
Oh, of course. Too often we see clients who haven't thought about their broader or their longer term lifestyle. So I've had clients that have come to see me where they've taken out a mortgage based obviously on both of them working, without having that conversation about what's going to happen down the track. Do we want to have a family? If we do start a family, is one of us going to take time off work? And then the time comes and they find that they're unable to actually follow through with that. They haven't taken into account what happens when we lose one of our incomes.
Yes, and that's immensely stressful. We spoke last week about financial stress causing marriage breakdown and all sorts of issues. Does it actually, have you found that it spins out that far in relation to poor debt planning?
I personally haven't found it spin out that far. I mean, obviously there's the pressures with that, but when I'm seeing the clients, obviously we're taking steps to try and address those mistakes that have been made.
So you're coming from the tack that good debt management starts before you even get the debt?
Absolutely.
Yes.
You know, it starts with sitting down and working out what life's going to look like for you 5 years, 10 years down the track, and ensuring that you give yourself the flexibility to live that lifestyle without the stress of too much in the way of debt burden.
Okay, so a client comes to you with incredibly poorly managed debt and the sort of things we've been speaking about looming in their future. Can you give me an example of a client who maybe has presented with that situation and how you've dealt with it for them?
One client that springs to mind came initially to see us and had absolutely no savings, credit card debt, personal loan, and was looking to commit to a mortgage with his new partner. So the first step was going back to cash flow, as you've already alluded to, and working out where we could perhaps eliminate some discretionary spending, where we could find some surplus income, and then put in plan a place to eliminate the credit card debt, the personal loan, and then look to putting aside some savings with the idea of then taking out a mortgage.
Okay, so you really prevented them from ending up in catastrophe?
We would like to think that we helped them avoid their own catastrophe.
But often clients first discover they've got debt problems where the bank refused to lend them money. Have you had this present to you?
This is presented numerous times, and I always caution clients because in our experience what we've found is the amount the banks will lend is actually far higher than most clients can actually commit to while still leading some sort of life.
Yeah, I had a client who I calculated how much debt they could have to buy a property. I arranged this through a mortgage brokerage. They went off to the bank and got $200,000 more. And I cancelled them against it. And eventually we parted ways as advisor and client because really they had committed well over the top and none of the strategies that were sensible now fitted.
We have sadly a similar story of a client that approached us for advice in terms of purchasing an investment property. We advised against it for the pure reason that this client at this stage was not working, was living off investment income. The client proceeded with it and the situation turned from having an unencumbered own home to having an investment property with a debt over the client's own home, which built to pay the other debt. Eventually, both properties having to be sold and hundreds of thousands lost. And we ended up parting company as well.
It's sad, isn't it?
It is sad. It can be avoided, but there's obviously a commitment required there to managing that cash flow and an accountability.
Clearly, the best way to manage debt is to do it before you get debt.
Yes.
but unfortunately people aren't always that sensible, or don't even realise they have a problem until they're overcommitted. What can you do to help somebody, or have you had an experience of somebody who's presented with that problem, and how have you helped them?
The client I referred to before, who came to see us with credit card debt and no savings, we put in place a budget and helped that client work with their ongoing cash flow. We managed to eliminate the credit card altogether, eliminate the personal debt, and instigate a savings program, successfully took out a loan and is still managing to pay extra off that home mortgage. So it's been quite rewarding to see the progress.
So how long did that delay his property purchase plans for?
It only delayed his property purchase plans by about 18 months.
I said before that people don't manage their affairs poorly, they just don't understand them. They just don't actually get a picture of them. Sorry.
I'm nodding in agreement with you, Kerry. I couldn't agree more. I think it's really important that clients understand the impact of the decisions that they make, and often they don't. So once you can give the clients the tools to make those decisions with their eyes wide open about if we go down this path versus this path, what are the likely outcomes, then clients are empowered to make their own responsible decisions.
Yes, that's right. And act early. So if you're consolidating debt on a interest-free credit card for 3 months more than once, seek advice.
Yes, or if you're refinancing your house to increase the home loan to pay out the personal debts and you're constantly doing that, yes, you need some help.
Okay. Thank you very much, Lisa. Your insights in relation to debt have been really helpful. Thank you.
My pleasure.
We'll see you after the break.